What's up everyone? In this video I'm going to install a rear luggage rack on my 2024 Hunter 350. Royal Enfield didn't make a luggage rack for the Hunter, so any option that you go with is going to be aftermarket. There's a few different options out there. You can find a handful of different choices on eBay, but most accessories, period, for Royal Enfields on eBay are coming from India. So just keep in mind if you do buy something off of eBay um, and it's getting shipped from India, you are probably going to be subject to the current 50% Trump tariff. So I got lucky and I found an option on Amazon. And actually, what happened, somebody had this exact same bike, 2023 model, listed for sale on Marketplace. I was browsing, saw it. They had a luggage rack installed on theirs with a storage box. So I hit them up, asked if they could let me know what rack they used, where they got it from. And they sent me a link to Amazon and said this is what we bought. And it was actually the one that I was already thinking about buying, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger. Now I have a storage box also ordered off of Amazon. It's an AHR, I think. So that won't be here for about another week, so I'll do a second video on installing the storage box on top of the rear luggage rack. Givey does make an option for a luggage rack on this bike as well, and that's what I was looking at originally, but I don't know if the picture, there's very little information that I could find as far as installation and whatnot. If you look at the picture, I don't know if it's 100% representative of the way the rack installs, but it looks like it bolts to the side of the frame, and there's really no points, no holes or mounting points or anything, and I don't want to drill through the frame on my bike. Um, Not sure if I would have had to, but this option from Amazon, it just gets mounted where the current grab bars are at. So I have not opened this yet, so I figured we'll do that together. So let's go ahead and check out the luggage rack. So it looks pretty decent. It's not gloss black, it's flat black, which is fine. The welds look pretty good. There's a little bit of weld spatter here and there. It was just not cleaned up and painted over. For the most part, looks pretty good. If it fits well, I'll be happy with it. All right, so let's start disassembly on the bike. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start by removing my basket and bungee cord system here. You probably don't have this going on, so you won't have this step. This did work, by the way, but it makes it more difficult to swing your leg over the bike. I kind of decided to go after a more permanent option. So first step is to remove the side cover so that we can remove the seat. So to remove the side cover, you unlock it, and then there's two grommets, one up here and one over here up top, like that. Side cover comes off, which exposes your relays. Now you have this little pull cable right here. So you pull that, and the seat lifts right up from the back. It comes off. Okay, so this rack goes in place of your grab bars for your rear passenger, your pillion. And if you look at that, they're being held on with two bolts here, two bolts here. So each handle is held on with two bolts that goes through the frame with a couple nuts down there. So we're going to remove those bolts, remove the handles, slide the rack in its place, and reinstall the bolts. Oh, it's going to be slightly difficult to hold those nuts. Let's see, that's probably won't fit. That's a 14 millimeter. Can't tell you what size Allen wrench this is because my set of Allen wrenches are wore off. At least the ones in this box. Probably a 6. 7's too big, so it's probably a 6 millimeter, 5 or 6 millimeter Allen wrench and a 14 millimeter nut on the bottom side. See if I can get that out with a magnet. Maybe. Maybe not. Trying not to scratch anything. Really don't want to take that rear fender off, but I'm assuming you could take the rear fender off. Wait a minute. So your rear fender is held on with these two bolts and these two bolts. So if you do want to drop your rear fender, to give yourself more room to gain access to the nut underneath, it's pretty easy to do. And I lied. The nut on the bottom side of these hex heads that is not a 14 millimeter. Must have just been wedged in there well enough to hold. It's actually a 12 millimeter. So 5 or 6 millimeter hex head, 12 millimeter nuts on the bottom. These are 10 millimeter if you want to drop your fender. And what I'm going to attempt to do, I just loosen the two back ones, and you can see it lets my fender hang down a little lower, which I believe gives me plenty of clearance to be able to get a wrench in there. I'm not overly in love with taking stuff apart on this. It's a brand new bike. It's got 161 miles on it, and I've put all 161 miles on it in 2 weekends. So I've had this about 10 days. I'm already taking stuff apart on it. But I guess you got to do what you got to do. Yeah, so I've decided the reason why I've decided to install a luggage rack is because this thing's a blast. I've been having a really good time riding it around, and I'll probably run it to work once in a great while, um, and use it to run some errands and whatnot. And it would be very nice to have a little bit of storage space where if you want to run to the store and pick a couple things up or whatnot, you can. So okay. All right. So this luggage rack did not come with any directions whatsoever. So I'm not certain if I'm going to go over or under. I would assume under, just like the grab bars were. See if we can sit this without it sliding. I don't think so. Should make sure the holes are going to line up. Maybe. That's going to be awfully close. You have somebody to give you a hand, an extra set of hands would definitely help. I do not have anybody here right now to assist. I want to leave those just a little loose for alignment purposes. Again, I don't think this is going to line up. I think I'm going to have to waller some holes out a little bit, which I was afraid of. I might be able to get 3 of the 4 bolts in there. Let me see something here. Nope. Well, that sucks. Actually, it does flex a little. So let's see what happens there. Hmm. Okay, so I got progress. So I did use a stepper bit and opened up all 4 holes just a little bit. I mean, very, very minor. Probably just mainly took the paint out of the inside of the holes. The back 2 would fit. The bolts would drop down in both on both sides. The front 2 still were off. So I put the back 2 bolts through, started the nuts on the bottom to hold the rack in place. Was able to left them loose though, and then I was able to kind of shift this to the side, drop this bolt in. And once I had 3 bolts in, I contemplated um, just rolling with 3 bolts and then maybe going to the hardware store and getting a slightly smaller bolt. But what I did is I just got on the this side of the bike here and I pushed on the frame and I pulled on the rack while the bolt was sitting here and just got it to drop down in. So all 4 of them are in there, and I don't know, maybe I would have been able to get enough give out of it if I would have just done that to begin with. And maybe I wouldn't even have needed to open the holes up. But that's all right. Good with it the way it is. Oh, it's going to be hard to get the nut up in there though. So, yeah, that's so you can see how tight that is. Okay, there we go. We'll get this nut started. But you know, you want everything to fit tight, so I'm okay with a tight fit as long as it fits. Which, guess we can say it fits. Sort of fits. Okay, before we go too far, get this other nut on here. Yeah. Well, come on, man. There we go. Get everything snug down. Oh, well, yeah, we'll snug everything up and then we'll check and make sure our seat goes on, but I'm sure it will now. So yeah, I can't wait to get the storage box on this. It's going to make this bike way more usable. Right now, I've just been taking it out and just cruising around. Like I said, I put that little basket on the back seat, so I had some form of storage. I usually just throw a bottle of water back there and a ball cap. That way, if I stop somewhere, I can put a hat on and hide my atrocious helmet head or helmet hair. Oh. With the rack, and then with a storage box, I'll be able to run to the grocery store and pick up a couple of items. Um, you know, parts house, basically anywhere I want. I can use the bike to run a few errands. Will make it a little more usable, which means I get to ride more, which is great. I plan to do a like first impressions, first thoughts video on this bike as somebody that's a new rider that's never owned a motorcycle and then buying this bike. I'm going to do a quick short little video on my thoughts, my experiences with it so far, whether or not I recommend buying a Hunter 350 or I guess really any Royal Enfield. But spoiler alert, I absolutely do recommend this bike. It's an awesome bike. 350, 349cc, I don't know, 20, 22 horsepower or something like that. Goes down the road good, got enough power, especially for a beginner. Rides decent. You feel every bump. It's not cruiser. It's a well-rounded, comfortable bike though. It's got enough power to get out of its own way, but not so much power that you're going to get in trouble with it. Which is what I was looking for. They got ABS. So if you get a little wild on the brakes, you're covered. All in all, good little bike. Okay, so now make sure the seat latches, which is better now. There we go. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Pan out, give you a little shot. You can see where the basket was at. I put some conditioner on the seat to protect it, but I didn't on that back section because the basket was strapped to it. So there she is. Well, you know what? That's got to come up. I'll have to pop that seat back off and tighten down the fender real quick. So if you did drop the fender, don't forget to tighten it. Side cover back on now, which you can see these. Is that on camera? Yeah. Pin there, and then the lock there. So just going to line up your grommets. You'll feel them push into place. Push in on this. Lock it back. Now we're in business. That's it, man. So in the short run, I'm going to put my little basket back here, like so. But then, hopefully within the next week, I will have a AHR 33-liter storage box sitting back here. And it is just big enough to hold my full face helmet. So I can lock that in there, because it does lock. And then when I come out from a store or whatever, I take the helmet out. Anything I bought, I can throw in there. Or you could use it to carry tools or whatnot. So that's it. I'm gonna get some detailer and wipe my fender back down and finish conditioning that seat now that the basket's not on there, but give you a little look. I don't think it makes the bike look bad in any way. Still sporty looking. Now the box is gonna detract from it a little bit, but if you're not using it, you can always take it off. This rack might sit just a smidgen crooked on here. I'll tell you what, here's the deal with the rack. They don't make, again, Royal Enfield does not make one for this bike. You're forced to go with aftermarket options. Everything is like shipped from India. This one is on Amazon in the States. Not going to have to pay any duties, VATs, tariffs, anything like that. The rack itself seems to be made really sturdy and well. The holes in alignment could be a little bit better. I opened them up a little bit. You might get away with just prying on it and dropping them in. You could most certainly buy some smaller bolts. The rack does not come with any installation instructions, but you just got them from me. So you should be good there. $112 and some odd cents off of Amazon. Shows up next day. Say 115 bucks. Delivers next day if you're a Prime member. In the States, no tariffs. Looks good, fits pretty good, goes on easy enough. Probably your best option. The Givy is going to be a better quality rack. Maybe. I mean, they're well known. It's a reputable brand, so it's probably good. But it looks to me like the Givy comes down and bolts. So I don't know if you're taking like shock mounts off and using this mount. I really don't know. But I like the simplicity of just dropping the grab bars and mounting the rack in the same place. And if you're riding with a pillion, they can hold you. If they don't want to or you don't want them to, they could just as easily grab hold of the rack. So you're not losing anything there either. So that's it. Hey, hopefully this helped you out. If it did, or if you don't mind anyways, give me a like, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep throwing more content out there. A lot of cars, and going to be adding some bike stuff into the mix, and then home improvement stuff as well. So if you like working on stuff, throw me that like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in another video. Thanks.